But of course, officials are saying this is all coincidence, nothing to see here. Of course they do. It's the same thing they said when COVID vaccines seem to have some malfunctions. Coincidental death and destruction, nothing to see here. Anyway, so what is this magic powder that they're putting in feed? Bovaer's active ingredient, say it with me here, actually just say it for me because I can't even pronounce this word. I don't eat things that I can't pronounce. I'm not gonna feed something to my animals that I can't pronounce. But anyway, this is what it is. It actually reduces an enzyme in the cow's first stomach and its rumen that produces methane. So the theory here is that if we feed this to the cows will burp less methane. In practice and practicality, what it is we are tampering with the microbes that have built our entire ecosystem. And we're trying to shut that down because our ecosystem is the problem. Cows aren't the problem. They're a part of the solution. Apparently the Danish government isn't smart enough to figure that one out. You see, the methane that cows are actually burping is part of the natural ecosystem, part of what we call the carbon cycle. They don't actually make the carbon or the methane. What they do is they eat the grass that has a carbon in it, and as they're digesting it, they burp that up. And the methane that goes back into the air then gets recycled back down in. The grass eats the methane and the carbon from the air. That's what keeps plants healthy. It's a system that has evolved, a system that's evolved for much longer than human beings have ever had shoes. Look, long before the first Holstein, the first dairy cow, the first Angus bull, the earth had millions and millions of ruminants. Bison, oryx, wildebeests, deer, elk. Ruminants that were belching methane by the gigaton. So much methane, it dwarfs anything we see in domestic herds today. And people will try and be like, well, we didn't have as many bison as we have cows. No, but when you add it all up, when you look at all the ruminants that once roamed this planet in massive herds, you're talking about a ton of methane. And guess what? The earth evolved and survived just fine. It flourished, in fact, because of these animals. Our ecosystems would not exist today if it weren't for these animals.
Ancient eras and natural selection have refined and tailored pristine fibers with the resilience for today's days. Evolving beyond the last ice age, bison wool is nature's most dependable activewear. Buffalo Wool Company, 100% proven by nature, 100% American made.
Check out the Buffalo Wool Company collection at yanasatradingco.com. Problem isn't really even the cow. The problem is the system that we've built around the cow, and we haven't learned very much from doing that. The system we built around the cow has, destroyed pastures, destroyed farmland, but a lot of farmers have caught on to that, and they said, hey, look, we could fix this if we just understand how the ecosystem operates. And we're seeing massive improvements on that scale all across the world. The one thing we haven't improved upon is the thought process that we can fix and control nature, God's creation. Now, here's the other thing about Bovaer, is regulators swear up and down this stuff is safe at the recommended feeding and dosage, etc. And then suddenly it's not so safe. It's like, putting lead in applesauce. It's perfectly safe for your kid to eat something like lead, which is not good for them. It's a poison, in fact. By putting it in applesauce, we can increase the flavor, get them to eat more of the applesauce. It really gives that cinnamon a boost. But, there are certain levels to which it is toxic and can kill you. The safety sheets for this stuff actually warn of eye damage, skin irritation. You can't inhale the stuff or it could kill you. It causes potential harm to male fertility. There's so much today that causes potential harm to fertility. Crazy, I know. For farmers to handle the raw product and mix it into the feed that their cows are eating, they have to go through all sorts of safety measures, goggles, gloves, respirators, just to feed their cows something that is labeled as, in theory, safe until you've reached the recommended levels and didn't do it correctly, and then we'll just put the blame on you. Farmers have to wear a hazmat suit, folks. This is craziness. Just let let that sink in. The guy producing your food is having to do it in a hazmat suit with a respirator. And like I said, here's the big kicker about all this. If anything goes wrong, if the cow dies, the whole herd gets sick. Milk production drops. Consumers get sick from what's in the milk. The farmer eats the loss and is the one to blame. They didn't follow instructions. I mean, Denmark is investigating all of this, and so far that's pretty much what they're saying is, we need to see how this was actually implemented, how the feed was going out. Nonetheless, that it's happening on a wider scale. But because, like I said, this product is mandated, the company making it, not liable. Government's definitely not liable. They've never been liable for anything. It's the folks who are forced to pay for the product and feed it to their cows that are held liable. That's not climate policy, folks.